Good morning, everyone. Good day. And we're we're coming now to the we're coming now to the very end of this series on the Satipatthana Sutta, and it's this a practice that is offered by the Buddha for the purposes of ending sorrow, lamentation, suffering, distress, for the purification of beings, for the attainment of nibbana or liberation. It's designed to address some of the most fundamental existential issues that humans can have. And while it's sometimes taught, in the modern world, mindfulness at least is taught for stress reduction, the Satipatthana discourse is really being taught here for the highest realization of the end of suffering. And in this regard, it's often and traditionally, this practice of Satipatthana is considered to be the best practice to have as a person is dying. So to learn this practice well and have it close at hand, and then as we're dying, to have this available, to know, to value it, to be able to do it with some ease, not as a forceful practice, but as almost as a natural expression of life as we're dying. And there's a teachings the Buddha gave to his son, that he said that if someone cultivates mindfulness, in this case he was talking about mindfulness of the breathing, that a person will know their last inhale and last exhale as it ceases, as it ends. The tradition says that this means that the person will die calmly, but I believe it's deeper than that, that there's something about being calmly present for one, and really present for one's last breath, without being afraid, without being angry, without being distressed, is a phenomenal opportunity, phenomenally wonderful and important way to die. And so the question for this meditation for you is that what is it about being present for the end of, especially the exhale, but the end of the inhale, the end of the exhale, as if it's one's last exhale, one's last inhale, and that one follows it all the way out calmly. And what's available there in terms of letting go, in terms of peace? What is it? And that's kind of the question I'd like to leave you for here for this meditation, is that as you settle down and are present, what might there be there with tracking the ending of the inhale, the ending of the exhale, that is invaluable at the time of dying? The ceasing, the letting go, the releasing. And perhaps during this sitting, with all that we've done now these months on Satipatthana and being present for our experience, maybe there can be this question that you engage in with every exhale, every inhale. What is it? What is it about that exhale? What happens there? What's available there? What's the possibility there? What is it that is so important, so valuable, that the Buddha is pointing to? And I suggest that if you take this up as a way of being present today, this question, that you don't answer it analytically, you don't answer it cognitively so much, that might come as a byproduct, but rather in the stillness of the mind. The answer is in the stillness and the silence and the peacefulness. But have the question and see what comes. And then we'll just sit here today quietly. And you have had lots of instructions here and guidance. And today, you're left here with yourself and your own breathing. Sitting here as if each exhale will be your last exhale ever. Being there fully for the exhale and the letting go. And then as we come to the end of the sitting, what place of quiet, stillness is available for you at the end of the exhale, or any place at all? That'd be a valuable way to sit next to someone who's dying, to be present for them with care and value and kindness, with love. And as they're about to take their last breath, and to use the analogy of the last breath, maybe highlights the preciousness of life, the value, ever-present value of showing up and being present for what is here, for the people in our lives, not distracted, not caught in the hindrances, maybe not caught up in judgments and projections, but to be able to be present, really present with a quiet heart, a quiet mind. At times is one of the best, deepest ways to find our deep connection to each other. Whether we know it or not, we are in fact deeply connected. And perhaps the Satipatthana practice can help us to sit freely, and peacefully, intimately with that connection, free of clinging, and with care. May we care for everyone, all the people suffering, all the people going through this human life. May it be that they are happy. May it be that they find safety. May it be that they find peace. May it be that they find freedom. May we live for the welfare and benefit and care of everyone we encounter. So, good morning, and we're coming to the penultimate talk on Satipatthana, the Satipatthana Sutta. And after all these months now, over 4 months of going through it slowly, and coming to the end, and we'll all come to an end at some point. And this Satipatthana practice is considered to be one of the greatest practices to do as we're dying. And if we wait until we're dying to begin our practice, we won't have developed our practice, and the practice won't be there as a strong resource for us at those times. And what I've learned through this Satipatthana practice, and doing this practice for now many decades, it generally gives me a very positive feeling about dying. My relationship to my death is, if I'm lucky to die consciously and without dementia or without too much pain, that I just anticipate it to be being one of the great things to be present for, and this letting go that undoubtedly happens there as we're dying is one of the best things going. It's a really wonderful thing to do. The experience that I've had of letting go deeply and deeply and deeply, I now kind of associate that also with dying. And so I don't feel that dying is so much an end as it is a releasing, letting go, and letting go into, I don't know. It doesn't matter so much to me what we're letting go into. Maybe nothing, but just the letting go is so wonderful, so peaceful, so happiness, so freeing. So to consider this practice we've been doing all these months, that one of the purposes for it is to come to terms with, find our peace, find our center, our freedom in relationship to some of the deepest and most challenging aspects of human life. And this is why I think this is kind of represented by how the text begins and how it ends. And the end, it goes, so it was with reference to this that it is said, "This is the direct path for the purification of beings, for the surmounting of sorrow and lamentation, for the disappearance of pain and grief, for the attainment of the way, for the realization of Nibbana," namely, the four foundations for awareness. And so in some Theravadan countries, or temples, or often there's a practice of reciting the Satipatthana Sutta as someone is dying or after they've died, because of this very close association with the practice of Satipatthana as we're dying. One of the ways to appreciate this is that as we're dying, that all kinds of things no longer are that important, and when we're not in our last breaths, we're not concerned about whether or not we need to buy more socks or not, or what are we going to have for supper, what is all kinds of things that, and to be able to let go of concerns and thoughts which are not relevant at that time, to be able to let go of fears, desires, distress, to really kind of not have that get in the way of the fullness of the moment, the opportunity of the moment. And and this Satipatthana practice teaches us that we have something better to do than be distressed, something better to do than being afraid, something better to do than being lost in fantasy and thoughts and projections and ideas. Not that we can necessarily put all those things aside, but our life and interest, the energy, the attention, doesn't go there anymore. We can let go of it and focus on this practice of Satipatthana, practice of being aware and being awake, being present. That is the better alternative than so many of the ways our minds can go. And to practice Satipatthana, this practice of mindfulness a lot, helps us to see over and over again in a deeper, clearer way how it's the better alternative, how it's this is where life is found, freedom is found, peace is found, more often than the other things the mind is doing. And the compulsion of certain our thoughts and certain ones of our feelings and attitudes, as much as they might seem important to us, through this practice we see that there's something better to do. There's something much more freeing, much more peaceful, much more alive, much more satisfying to do than thinking about our resentments, thinking about wrong, how other people are wrong, thinking about regrets we've have over our lifetime. I mean, all those things can have a place in life, but to realize that they're not the best alternative, they're not the best place, the most valuable place to be. To not invest so much in so many things which are to our detriment, that diminish us, that are wind drag for ourselves, and to know what's the best alternative, to see that being awake, being aware, being present is the best alternative going. Even at the very beginning, I mean at the very end, this last breath that we have, what's the best thing to do at that point? Do you know that? Do you have a really feeling, oh, this is how you want that last breath to be? I hope it's not, wondering how many, who's going to get your socks when you die. I hope that it's, there's really something there. And then maybe there's a letting go of the world around you even, and the relationships for that breath. Maybe there's a letting go into being awake, into being aware, letting go into release, letting go. And so all these months we've been doing Satipatthana, it comes to this, that it's really about some of the most essential, deepest aspects of our life, and death represents that. But there's all kinds of suffering that human beings have. That the human realm is filled with suffering and challenges. And how do we meet it? How do we address it? How do we find our way through it? And for the Buddha, this is the unified way. This is the direct way. This is the way. And I think of it as the simplest, most uncomplicated, way, all the way through to freedom, to liberation. So, well, thank you, and we'll do our last talk tomorrow, and I look forward to our time. Thank you.